Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, you can probably tell by the smile on my face exactly where I am. I'm back in my favourite place in the world, and that's the Isle of Mull. This is the first video that I've recorded since returning from Kenya, and that's not because I've not been out with my camera. I have been out with my camera. I've been to a number of places, but I just didn't feel like I'd got my mojo back from coming back from Kenya. I don't know whether it was post-Kenya blues. I had such an incredible time there. So I thought the best remedy for that is to come back to the beautiful Isle of Mull. It's not the only thing that I'm going to bring to you in this video. So we've had another little update for the channel, and that is Dinky Doo has gone. We've no longer got Dinky Doo. I've treated the wife to a little upgrade. For a Christmas present, we've got a new motorhome. So that motorhome is definitely going to feature in many of the videos as we move forward. And might be just a little addition that I do to the channel over this coming year. A little bit of the adventures that we have in Tiny T. That's what we've nicknamed this little motorhome. So long, Dinky Doo is gone, long live Tiny T. In addition to that, we've brought my daughter with us this year, so she's come along, and I'm going to introduce her into wildlife photography. Now, Charlotte has been with me on many trips to Mull, and she's seen otters, but she's never really taken to photography. So when we were on our way to Mull this time, she just said to me in the car as we were coming along, "How many cameras have you brought, Dad?" I said, "Well, as it happens, I've brought 2. So she's going to come along and have a go at photography. You're going to come and say hello, Charlotte? So here's my daughter, Charlotte.
Hello.
Sporting the Dan Willis photography baseball cap. And I'm going to teach Charlotte a little bit about wildlife photography, and maybe we'll put a few of her pictures up if we're lucky to encounter an otter or 2. And that is definitely what we're going to aim for today. The light is beautiful. We're in the depths of December, right at the end of December, just before January, and the Isle of Mull has been absolutely covered in a blanket of frost with really low temperatures. By the end of this week, unbelievably, because it never happens on Mull, we've actually got snow forecast. How incredible would that be if we managed to get photographs of otters in the snow? So if that's something that's exciting you, is that something you want to have a look at, come along for the journey and see what we see. Apologies, I'm recording this on my phone. It's so slippy. We got out of the car so fast that I left my vlogging camera behind. And we were actually pursuing the eagle, and the eagle had landed a little bit further down on the shore, and we were able to get in a much better position to get some photographs of where it was first positioned, which was absolutely magical. And then, just as we were photographing the eagle, Charlotte went, "There's an otter, there's an otter." And so we did what I always do, get yourself down on the shore. It was probably a good 200 metres further along the coast than where we were, and we just waited for it to come along to where we were, and it came out right at our feet. Now unfortunately, it was so close, wasn't it?
So close.
Now unfortunately, it was in the brightest bit of water you could possibly imagine, which meant photographing was incredibly challenging. I was having to meter for the otter, which meant that the water behind it was completely blown out. So I'm looking for a high key image there. Charlotte's not quite got the talent for that yet.
And I was sat directly behind Dad.
And yeah, Charlotte was sat directly behind me, so I was kind of obstructing a view, but you were able to watch it, weren't you? What were your thoughts, Charlotte?
I thought it was amazing. It was so close.
It's so close.
You could hear it going nom 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 nom.
And that is the thing. That is the thing. When you do it right, and you're not chasing it down the shore, and obviously we could carry on down the shore now, but we've had our encounter. We're leaving it be now, and we're walking away.
It wants its dinner.
It wants its dinner in peace, yeah. But when you get close like that, and the otter comes to you, and it's on the otter's terms, not on your terms.
I almost slipped in.
You know, be really careful. Look how she's cradling my Z8 with a 70 to 200 on it. When you let the otter come to you, and you get that most incredible of encounters. Oh, I mean, if we don't see another otter this trip, which I'm sure we will, this is only day one.
My eyesight, I'm amazing.
Exactly. It won't be a wasted trip, because that was sensational.
That's black ice.
Yeah. So we're back in the vehicle after what was an incredible encounter, wasn't it, Charlotte?
Mm-hmm. Very, very incredible. It was so close to us.
And it's actually just carried on further down the shoreline, and it's sat out on a rock at the moment eating something. It was looking as though it was going to come into the shore, but a vehicle has stopped on the road. He stopped with a respectful distance away from it, and it's climbed onto a rock to eat it. And what was quite good is 2 hooded crows have just flown down, and they're sat on rocks really close all the time, pressuring the otter. It's just gone back in the water, pressuring the otter to try and give up whatever it is it's eating.
One was pecking the otter's tail before.
It really was, wasn't it? Which was great to see. So we found our second otter of the day. This one definitely looks like a male, much larger than the last otter that we were with. The lighting on this side is much more favourable for Charlotte, so we've not got harsh lighting at all, although it's never really harsh on the other side because of the time of year that we're photographing. But with it being in the shadow, Charlotte should be able to get a photograph no matter what with the settings that I've provided her with. So I've put it on 1,000th of a second, and she's shooting wide open, which is she's at f5.6 because she's got a 70 to 200 2.8 on with a 2x teleconverter, so she'll be at f5.6 wide open, auto ISO. It should be on matrix metering, so everything's as automatic as I can make it to give her the best chance of getting the shot. Luckily, we get to leave Jen in the vehicle, which means that she can make sure if there was a vehicle coming and we're causing any obstruction, she can move the vehicle along. Because one of the things that's a big problem on Mull is people leaving cars in places that they shouldn't. So the fact that I can always leave Jen in the vehicle and forget her to move it along really aids us with that. So at the moment we're just watching, trying to work out its direction, work out its movement, so that we can deploy ourselves further down the beach, and hopefully it'll come out just as the last one did. But at the moment it's just busy hunting, pretty much in line with the motorhome, isn't it, Charlotte?
He's not really moving.
No. He's obviously onto a good bounty, because most of the time when he comes up he's eating fish, mainly butterfish that it's eating, and he can eat those in the water, so he don't have to come out on land. So once we've gauged which direction he's going, we'll get ourselves nice and low and wait for it to come out to us.
Look at the view.
The view is spectacular, isn't it? Well, what an incredible first day that has been. Charlotte's definitely got a first ever picture of an otter, so I'm made up with that. And to see that white-tailed sea eagle up close was just the stuff of dreams. I've only ever been that close to a white-tailed sea eagle before, when we've been on Mull charters. So to see one out in the field was just spectacular, absolutely spectacular. All in all, I think we've seen 6 otters today, which is, fantastic. Majority of the otters that we've seen have been really difficult to photograph. They've either been, as the one that I've just been with then, moving, transitioning from one place to another, and when they're like that, they cover ground so quickly that it is almost impossible to get ahead of them without causing disturbance, so we've left them be. In another area I saw 2, and there was a beautiful interaction that I was watching through my binoculars. I always watch with my binoculars first. It gives me a real understanding of what the otter's doing before I then put myself into a position to be able to photograph it. And then we've had another experience today, and not a particularly pleasant one. A woman has just pulled up alongside us as we were at the side of the loch and started to shout at us that we were too close to the otters. The irony that she was shouting and causing disturbance, which visibly disturbed the otter, and it left the area, is just unbelievable. And the second thing is, I've never ever knowingly disturbed an otter. I've said it so many times on this channel: get yourself ahead of the otter, lie in wait, let the otter come to you. If the otter's coming to you and you're staying still, there's no way you're causing disturbance. I completely agree with people challenging people who are behaving poorly around wildlife, and I've seen it myself here, where people have been chasing otters down the loch side, standing almost on top of them, making them leave the kill. That is not behaviour that I would ever do and would ever portray on this channel. Just a bit disappointing really, and leaves a slight bitter taste in your mouth. We've got 5 more days on the island, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more encounters. So come along for the journey and see what we see. Good morning. Day 2 on this beautiful island, and we're back out looking for otters. We've seen an otter already this morning, but unfortunately the location where we saw the otter, there was absolutely nowhere to park. So we decided to leave that. There was already a couple of people that were photographing it, so we've left that island and come further on. And that's one of the things I would encourage people to do. You don't have to dive on the first otter that you see. There are plenty of otters. I think we saw 7 in total yesterday. So there's plenty of otters to see, and sometimes it's better to give people a little bit of space with an otter, and that'll cause less disturbance to the otter and give you a chance to find one on your own. And when you find one on your own, you get, I think, a much better experience, less chance of disturbance, less chance of it behaving in a really natural way and giving you some of the best photographs you can get. And the weather is just spectacular. The sun is just breaking over the hill behind us, which you can probably just see against my face. So come along for the journey and see what I see. So we spotted an otter as we were driving back along, and we reversed probably about 400 metres back up the lane to a place where I could park the van, and grabbed our stuff. We were no more than a couple of minutes, went straight back to the area where the otter was, and it's vanished. It's absolutely vanished. And they have this uncanny knack of being able to just disappear. It may have come out, it may be asleep on the rocks, and if they do that, it's very easy to lose them. They're so well camouflaged on the shoreline that you could walk past them with ease. And then the other thing, of course, is they can make their way across the loch. I've seen them do that before, and it may have done that, but either way, we well and truly lost our quarry.
He did not want his picture taken.
He didn't want his picture taken, Charlotte, you're absolutely right. So we'll jump back in the car and we'll move on and see if we can find some more. So we found an otter. Bizarrely, just before we could get out of the vehicle, this otter was being followed by a white-tailed sea eagle. I'm fairly confident it's the same one we saw yesterday, and from the view that we've had this time, it looks like a juvenile. So the otter is just ahead of us that way. As we got out of the vehicle, it came on shore with what looked like a crab. They will always eat crabs on shore, they very rarely eat them out in the water. So what we're going to do now is just like I've always said. He's coming back on shore, he's caught somewhere else. Just hold that for 1 second. So he's found a stone on the water. And he's eating what looks like a fish. As we've mentioned a few times, the first thing that you do once you find an otter is just observe. Now you can observe it for 10-15 minutes, but what you're trying to work out is what it's doing. Is it feeding? Is it moving? If it's moving, which direction is it travelling? And then the aim is to get ahead of it, get in a nice position with some cover, and then wait for it. So we're going to move back to the road, shall we? Just be ready to freeze. So we're going to just find a position. It is actively hunting again now, which is what we wanted, and we're just going to get in position and wait for it to come to us. So we've been with this otter now for probably the best part of an hour, just keeping our distance. We actually got a lovely opportunity just then from the road. We were stood on the road and it had gone to sleep behind a boulder, and we were kind of trapped. We couldn't move either way because the boulder was in line with where we were. And as otters do, they only nap very, very briefly. And then he came out, and because it's a male otter, I had an inkling that he might climb onto the boulder. And he did just that. He climbed right onto the top of a huge boulder, really high up, covered in snow on the top. And we were able to get some photographs of it, which was absolutely fantastic to see. And now we've just come, he's changed direction, he's coming back up the shore, so we've just got well ahead of him now. Got ourselves in a really nice position. I'm waiting for him to join us. What did you think of that experience, Charlotte?
It was so cool. It was really cool.
So cool. It's not bad when teenagers are talking about wildlife like that, is it? As this otter comes ashore, clutching its catch, time seems to slow down. Moments like these are never guaranteed. They're earned through cold fingers, early mornings and patience. But when they happen, they remind you exactly why you're here. At the beginning of this film, I asked whether the Isle of Mull is worth visiting in winter for wildlife photography. And sharing experiences like this, watching white-tailed sea eagles rule the skies and otters just going about their lives meters away from you, I think the answer speaks for itself. To witness it here in the heart of winter and to share it with one of my daughters makes these moments even more special. These aren't just photographs, they're memories that will stay with us long after we leave this island. But this story isn't finished yet. In part 2, we head back into Mull's wild winter landscapes, chasing more encounters and seeing what else this remarkable place is willing to reveal. If this film has inspired you, please consider giving it a like, it really does help, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter of our Isle of Mull adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2. Ta-ra!